Hello? Hello? Alright. Hello, YouTube world. My name is Nicholas Montes again, and I know it is the second day. Well, actually, I think I've been going live all this week because I made my 2024 movies list, movies missed list, and then I did my December list on Tuesday, and then I did my big movie ranking yesterday. Today, we're going to be a little bit shorter. I'm going to try not to talk too much with this one, but essentially, hold on, let me edit this real quick. Okay, so if you are new to these types of videos, I posted this on my Instagram, so hopefully one of you wonderful people could come from here to talk movies with me. Well, not movies, but talk about life. Basically, what these types of videos are, I basically on YouTube every 6 months, whether it's June or December or a little bit of January, I talk about those 6 months. So in June, I talk about January through June. Then in December, or really the second day of January, which is something I'll be doing until I die, I talk about July through December, and that's what the video will be doing, and basically talking about the New Year's resolutions and what I have planned. So the way that this stream is going to work, I'm going to be talking about basically all of the things that have happened with me in the last 6 months, because there's quite a lot that's happened in the last 6 months. I'm also, and then I'm gonna come and then stop by at the end, and I'm gonna share my top 10 New Year's resolutions that I have planned that I hopefully can bring to the table. With that said, let's go ahead and get started, and we're gonna go ahead and get started talking about July. Okay, so as one of the first months of July, I thought July was a solid month. Of course, I think the best thing about this month was just watching movies. I like this was the month where like you go back into January and March, and I saw so many movies, not new releases, but like I saw so many movies that like it just blew my mind. And this month, July really returned to the format for that, and it was just so much fun. I watched Chucky with my sister. I watched The Greatest Showman, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But besides the movie stuff, we're not here to talk about movies. We're here to talk about real life of what's been going on. So what has been going on? So let's talk about 4th of July. This was an interesting one, because back in January when I had my birthday party, one of the people that went there, I'm not going to say who, or because this person that did this kind of has another part in the story of in another month I'll talk about. But this person that went to my birthday party basically recommended to me that like you should do more hangouts like this more often and not just big events like your party. And I was like, I've always been wanting to do that, but I don't really know how to. And I thought 4th of July was the best way to do that, except I don't want to hang out at my house. I actually want to go see fireworks with my friends. And so that's exactly what I did. And I think that this was a very fun experience. It felt like I was kind of growing up, and I felt like it was just a fun time to go to see fireworks, hang out with friends, and this is the kind of experience that I should be getting. Now, I will say it was almost perfect. Obviously, and I believe that this is like one of the last few hangouts with friends that I've had in a long time, to where, when it comes down to it, one of the people that inspired the idea, they came, and two of their other friends came, and they kind of had this idea of like doing this salad bowl towards like a bowl with candy. It never happened, and then they kind of awkwardly left to go do something else. And I'm like, and I tried texting one of them back, and they weren't really responding, and it was just kind of weird. And granted, we took a pic together. She posted it, but it still would have been better if if that person communicated more. So overall, I thought it was to be clear, I think it was a solid hangout. To the other people, like I have a picture up here, of the other people that I hung out with, and they were awesome. But with them, it just kind of didn't feel like they were really a part of the crowd. I mean, obviously, first time hangouts, they're usually always shy, but I don't know. It's just the people are it's kind of weird when it happens. But once again, this person plays another part in another story for another month. So what happened going a week after that, I did two incredible things. One, I went to the mall with a group of my sophomore friends. It was this group I told you guys about back in June about these friends in biology, and it was a ton of fun. Of course, there's technically 6 of us in the group, including me, but 2 of them didn't want to come, so it was basically just the 4 of us, and we had fun. 2 girls, 1 boy, and so yeah, it was just a whole ton of fun. I don't really know what else to say about that, just because our friendship between all of us is just really funny and weird, but it's just a good mix of in between, so I really like it. And then 2 days after that, so that was July 12th. The mall meeting was July 12th. Come back to July 14th, and I went to go see The Lion King in theaters, the release of its 30th anniversary. This was an incredible experience. Such an incredible experience. And the reason for this was because it was only me and my sister in the theater. No one else was there. And so this was just such a fun, incredible, fun experience that I loved going to see. And so I loved every moment of it. It was awesome. I do wish some people were in the theater with us, though, to we can enjoy it with a big audience. But obviously, in other movies, I'm not as loud. And in this movie, I was pretty loud. I was cheering. I was singing my heart out. I was just having a good time. So that was a great day. And then also that same day, I also got Spider-Man PS4, and then I went to go play it at home. So I'm like, that was just a good day. That was just a good day. And so yeah, overall, I've been doing some really good, cool things in July. And then not only that, but I also went to go see Deadpool Wolverine with my sister, which technically we were going to be watching Deadpool Wolverine with my mom and sister, but then come the first weekend of August, me, my mom, and my sister actually went to go see it together. So we still did it. We just didn't do it opening weekend together. It was just me and my sister opening weekend. And that was fun, and it was actually also fun because that same day, I believe, we watched The Greatest Showman. So that was just a fun little day together. And that kind of sums up the good in July. Now, to be clear, I'm going to be honest, nothing technically happened bad that was in July, but towards the end of July, I started to feel a immense amount of depression. And if you guys know me, I get really nervous for when school is about to start. And you start to realize that by the time Deadpool Wolverine was coming out, and school starts August 12th. School started August 12th. And you're like, wait, we have 3 more weeks of summer left until school starts? No way. And I'm gonna cut this one short, but I just started to into a severe depression to where I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And I think it's best to end July off now because I want to talk more about my thoughts on school and my nervousness of school. Okay, so when it came to school, if you know me, every single year I'm always getting nervous for whatever reason. I hate school, and it's not that I hate school, it's just almost every year it's like I hate having to deal with change and that I have to deal with new teachers, new people, and all that stuff. But at the same time, it is kind of exciting. It is kind of exciting to get that, but at the same time, it's like there was a lot of things that were like happening this year. Number one, I'm gonna be a junior, so that's not exactly as exciting. Because you know it's one more year until I'm a senior, and that means real world, and I'm not excited to grow up. Second thing, they were adding a bunch of new rules that I just wasn't excited for. They talked about adding metal detectors to school, which they've been talking about that for a while, but I didn't know if that was going to be a thing. And then they also talked about banning cell phones in school. Now, of course, as a kid, a phone, as a 17-year-old, a phone is very important to me, considering I got to text my parents, got to text my friends, got to cheat. I'm kidding. But, you know, it was stressful, and it's like, and people think they wanted to do this because they believe that kids don't get grades, which part of that is also the reason, but it's also because they want kids to socialize. And they were even going to ban it at lunch. And we'll talk about all this stuff as I have gone to school now. They ban it at lunch because they think that kids don't socialize. In which, yeah, some kids don't socialize, but you do also realize that, like, people socialize. You see, like, thousands of kids talking at lunch. Like, do you just, what if they have nobody to talk to? You just expect them to sit alone? Like, that's kind of boring. And multiple kids have their headphones or AirPods in all day, have their phones out. It's like, you're going to take away their phone just because they're relaxing at lunch? Like, what if they had a hard day? You expect to want them to talk to people? Come on. Like, be for real. But me personally, besides all the nervousness about, like, the changes, the changes of a new school year, but also the changes to this school year, I wasn't really a big fan of sophomore year. Now, I think sophomore year ended off on a good note because of me ending off with a good group of friends, but I wasn't a fan of my classes, and I'll explain that in just a minute. And basically, let's start off. When it comes to the bus rides and the bus people and all that stuff, I wasn't a particularly big fan of, just because, you know, in freshman year, the bus lady did not care about anything we did. She just kind of signed us on, and then from there on out, it just kind of didn't matter. Now she has to pick up like 3 stops, and we have to, from my stop, since I get picked up first, I have to move all the way to the back. And she's always yelling at people to go move to the back, and I'm like, bro, don't you realize, like, we're kids. We can make up for stuff. We can do that. But then there's this side of kids that just don't want to move or sit next to someone because they want space, or they just don't want to sit next to that kid because they're ugly or whatever. Like, that's how kids in our generation are, and it's really annoying. And I mean, granted, I feel like throughout sophomore year, we kind of warmed up to her, and there was definitely a, like, section of the year where she kind of left, but then when she came back, it was kind of good, but it was okay, I guess. But when it comes to my actual classes, oh man, there's a lot of issues here. So I had first period English. The teacher was fine. I think she had a few of, like, a certain amount of strict rules. And she never let anyone remake work or turn in late work. If it's due a certain day, then it's due a certain day unless you're absent. So I think it was fine with that, though there were some times where I just never passed her tests, and it was kind of hard to. Though there were some assignments that I did like, and also this was a class that, like, I was okay with because in the certain sense, I kind of enjoyed being alone, but then I also ended off on a good note where I had a good friend in there, but I didn't feel like I was being bullied in that class. Everybody was just kind of doing their own thing, in a way. But there were still kind of their own little groups, but I wasn't really a big fan of, but the class was fine. Now, world history is where I feel like my problems start to happen, and it's not because the teacher gave too much work, it's the fact that the class had so much effort, had so much potential to be a really fun and interesting class, but all we're doing is just like book work. And the thing that she had us design for at the beginning of the year was we were going to do these packets, and they would all be due by our next test. But the thing is, when our test came and it was time to turn in the packets, nobody did the packets. And so I'm thinking like to myself, like, and then most of the time throughout November and December, we would have to do like book work. And I'm like, I get that you're punishing us, but we've been doing this for like a while. Isn't there like a certain curriculum that we should be following? Or is that just a math thing? And so I'm thinking, like, this doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And then we do PowerPoints and all these notes. And she, like, somewhat makes notes easy, but then she makes notes kind of hard and makes us, like, read and stuff, which I will say was kind of interesting. But this class had so much potential to be fun, but everybody just decided to be lazy. And I really did not understand it. Me and my friend, we got all the work done. We did the work, and it was actually kind of fun because my teacher allowed us, after our work was done, to play Uno. And that's kind of how me and my friends started playing Uno here and there. So it was kind of fun because of that. But just overall, I was not a fan of that class. The teacher was fine. I just wish we did a lot more fun stuff and made history interesting. And then third period, I thought was also, I had A lunch every day. Both lunches I thought were fine. I thought A lunch for A days were fine. A lunch for B days was okay. A lunch, so then we get third period, and I thought this class was one of the worst. Because the teacher was nice. He looks intimidating, but he's nice. And it was digital video, and basically, and also if you don't know what my second period was, it was history. But third period was digital video, and it's basically this class where, you know, where all the video equipment and recording stuff comes from. And I was kind of excited for that because, you know, I have a YouTube channel, so maybe I can learn how to edit videos and do all that stuff. And the teacher didn't really teach. He kind of just made videos for us to watch, and then we copy off of that. And then, like, I'm not exactly sure of how to, like, do all these tests, because it's like, it's not really simple questions. And I mean, sometimes I got it right, but then when I got to third and fourth quarter, I couldn't really understand it. And it's like, I tried asking for help, and then he would try to look on my screen by his computer. And I'm like, why is he doing this? And I'm so glad I didn't have to take his final exam, which technically there was no final for him, but I was not a fan of that class. The only good thing about it that came from it was I had a friend in there that was a longtime friend from my middle school. That was a 7th grader when I met him, but he was a freshman when he came to that school. He's gone now. But that's just about it. I was not a fan of the class. And then fourth period, I had Spanish. Really had a lot of potential for this class. I thought the teacher was okay. I had a few friends in that class, but otherwise, once again, the teacher just doesn't teach. He lets us cheat. And while I enjoyed that, I would like to have learned Spanish. And, like, he only taught us, like, one day. He only taught us, like, one day. And I'm like, that's it? You're just gonna let us cheat? Like, okay, I like this, but can we please cheat now, please? Like, come on. I mean, can we please, like, learn something now? And he, like, plays, but, like, he just sits there and he just focuses on, he says that he focuses more on his AP students, but then also, like, he's in there playing online Uno with his students, and he plays dominoes with students that come in his class. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Why do you do this? And so, I mean, like, it's fun once in a while, but it's like, what if we have to go to Spanish 2 next year? This isn't a good setup. And you see all these other Spanish teachers, and they are actually teaching. And we'll talk about that in a minute with my Spanish 2 class. But yeah, I was just disappointed with that one. And then we get math. It's kind of the basic math, except the teacher was actually nice. I will say there's times where I just could never understand the math that I was learning. It's like, it's to the point where I asked my sister for help and she never could help me. And that was really frustrating for me because it's like, why can't I do that? And it's like, I even tried practicing. And I actually will say, there were parts of it where I'm like, I'm learning the lessons, and I'm doing the homework, and I'm doing all that stuff, and it's actually pretty easy. But then when you actually try to, like, do the test, it's just absolutely complicated. Granted, I still passed the class with a bunch of D's and a C at the end of the last quarter, but I was not a fan of that class. I just wish math teachers found an easier way to teach math so that way kids can understand. I understand it takes practice, but isn't there I wish there was a simpler way to teach math. It was geometry. Everybody says geometry is easier. Algebra is harder. Both of them are hard. I would say geometry is a little bit harder. No, wait. Algebra is a little bit harder than geometry. That's my thing, though. And then, 6th period, I had biology, which I will actually say I kind of like this class, though at the same time, there was a lot more potential with this class. Now, unlike world history, where history is kind of interesting, biology actually had some times when it was kind of interesting and there were some kind of fun moments. And I actually kind of tried to get invested to where my teacher would do these lectures. And this was the first class where I actually heard about lectures and what they are. And essentially, like, she would put a projector on the board, and basically, she would talk loud in order to get everybody's attention and stuff. And I'm pretty sure that's just how she talks. But, you know, she would read off of it. She would read off of that stuff. And then she would kind of, like, give us examples of things we would understand, and so that way we can understand the lesson that we're learning. And to me, I'm like mostly she talked to like this side of the room, like this group of people that was like by her door to open the door. But she was of course talking to the rest of the class, but like when she was doing that, it was kind of interesting. And I'm like, I kind of wish we actually got more involved, because I'm like, there is actually a high percentage of where we could actually have learned something and we all could have connected as a class. Now, granted, from this class, I did actually make a friend group. So that was actually the best thing about it. Because I think the last few years since I started middle school and I've gotten actual just simple biology, science classes, I think all those classes sucked because I felt alone in those classes. But it was the first time where I actually made a friend. I made friends in these classes, so it was really fun. Though it could have been a lot better. And plus, the teacher sometimes wasn't here, so she couldn't really teach. And at first, I thought the teacher was actually kind of rude at first, but then once you actually go up to her and talk to her, she's actually kind of nice. And so she just seems a little, intimidating at first because because she talks loud. But trust me, she is a nice person. And then 7th period, which I actually think was my favorite class of last year, which was tech theater. And it's basically, I had a theater class before in, 8th grade. And I liked it. I thought, it was fun to act, though the teacher left, in the beginning of the third quarter of 8th grade. With this one, I thought it was kind of fun because it's like learning of how to build stuff. And pretty much all of the work is group work. And I thought that was actually kind of interesting. And I also thought the fun part about this class was that you got to find interesting people and funny people, but also you get to meet you also get to work together as a team. And the class is only good if you find good people and funny people. If you find funny people in that class. And for the most part, I did. I have this one scene, and this was also one of the first classes that I realized that I was in a class with a bunch of freshmen, with a bunch of sophomores of like myself, and a bunch of juniors and seniors. And so that was kind of fun. The teacher itself was nice. I just think, she has a lot on her plate, so I can kind of understand how she would be a little bit aggravated sometimes, but it's whatever. She just has a lot on her plate, and this is what she decided to do. But, she is invested in what she loves to do. I don't really have any problems with this class. Just sometimes, I guess there were times where there was a little mishap in, certain assignments that I messed up on. And I actually had to take the final and midterm exam both times. It kind of sucked. Because I'm like, how did I not pass these quarters? And to be clear, I actually did pass the second and third quarter. I passed the class. But, it was okay. And then finally we have study hall. I personally wasn't a big fan of this one. Mainly because the teacher was just, I feel like the class was just kind of annoying. The teacher kept always getting on us about doing our work and stuff, which of course is totally fine. Because, obviously there's certain kids that just goof off or whatever. But there's a point in time to where I'm like, do you just not trust children? And she even, made a bathroom pass where we have to, take a bucket. And I'm like, that's a little extra, don't you think? Why can't we have a normal pass? Don't they give you a normal pass? And I even hear about how she is with her classes and that there's certain specific stuff we have to do. Kind of glad I don't have that class, but kind of did, but I don't know. And then there was even a point in time to where before winter break, she made study hall a tutoring session to where she would bring in seniors and they would be our tutors. But to be honest, I don't think it really helped. Because tutors are seniors and they're about to graduate. And some of this stuff that we're learning with algebra and geometry, they haven't done any of this stuff since they were in middle school. And they're about to graduate. And so it's I understand the idea here, but wouldn't you bring in professionals? Why does it cost money to help someone on a subject? Shouldn't that be something that's free? Technically, I know tutoring is a job and it costs money, but it's how come in order to share your knowledge is something that needs to be something to be paid for? That's just, I've never understood that thing, to be honest. But so yeah, overall, I think sophomore year was an okay year. It was, in some ways, kind of better than freshman year. Because I think in freshman year, it started off pretty well. I got some good friends, and then it kind of ended off kind of lonely and sad to where I just went into 2020. I went into sophomore year just with low expectations. But then it kind of ended off on a good note. And I was kind of excited to start the summer off. And even, June and July were like some of the best moments for me. And so overall, with sophomore year, I just wasn't a fan of it because I wasn't a fan of teachers not teaching. I wasn't a fan of the way certain teachers were, and I also wasn't a fan of the way certain people were. So I wasn't an entirely big fan of it. But as the final week of summer came upon, I started to just try to distract myself. I kept going on walks. I kept, watching stuff to distract myself from watching this stuff. I just tried to do things to distract myself from not stressing out about school. And, the final weekend came up, and, the thing is, by that final Wednesday, I finally kind of came to peace with everything. But then I think I had a doctor's appointment that last Friday, August 9th, and I don't know what it was, but I think all the stress of that kind of made me crash out again, to where toward that day and Saturday, I had multiple breakdowns as to how that day was going to go down. And I was in shock as to how this year was going to turn out. And then the final day of summer came in. I was not excited for that. I was so scared for my life. And I know I'm probably going to have to go through this again next year when I'm a senior. And who knows how I'll be when college comes around, or if I have to go to a trade school or whatever, because I am not leaving when high school comes, after high school goes and comes or whatever. But so then, let's talk about the first week of school. And there's definitely a lot of things to talk about here. Let's talk about the first day. As I talk about this, I'm going to talk about exactly how it was on the first day and how it is doing now. So with the first day, it was definitely very good. So with the bus ride there, it went well. I got to talk to some friends and stuff like that. And then, of course, it was kind of scary to see a whole lot of people crowded at the bus loop area because, we got to get the metal detectors to start. And it was pretty crowded the first day. And how did the metal detectors go the first day? Well, for me, it was fine because I got to school on time, and I got to class on time, though I didn't get to eat breakfast. And as soon as I got in, the bell rang pretty much already. And we'll talk about how metal detectors went the second day. But, we get to first period, which is U.S. history. And to give you my quick thoughts on that, I think the history teacher, I remember seeing her from last year, and I was like, that's actually kind of cool. She's cool. But also, I think I do like the class. I do think she does give a lot of work, but at the same time, she actually allows us to use our phones. And that's one thing I'll talk about later on. But she's nice. She teaches history very well. I try to get invested. She also, tries to be supportive and all this stuff and is there for you. And I really enjoy that. So she's an overall solid teacher, and I think she's a good teacher. Then we get to drawing, which is my second period, drawing 1. I do like this teacher. Part of the reason for this was because he was my sister's drawing teacher when she was in 11th grade, and they practically were very close. And so therefore, he's kind of extra special to me because I'm the brother of someone very special to him. So that works out very well. I will say, while the class I do like, I don't really talk to I don't really talk to anyone in there unless I'm spoken to. I kind of just chill in there, or I just do my work, which are drawings and the do-nows. Sometimes the drawings are interesting. The only thing that I guess I'm a little bit confused of as to why aren't we? Why hasn't he never grades the drawings, and I'm kind of scared to like ask him about it because I'm like, is it reminding? Because like I overall have good grades in his class, but at the same time it's like, and he even said something about doing a test like before like the first quarter ended, but we never did that. Though I was thinking of all the storms and everything that happened that canceled school. Maybe that's why. I don't know. I guess that's just my thoughts or whatever. I don't know. But overall, I like the class. I hope he actually grades our work this year or whatever he does. I don't know. But overall, that's my thoughts on him. And then third period is math, in which it's kind of what you expect from a math teacher or a math class, really, to where no phones, you gotta pay attention, and you got to put your bag against the wall, you gotta do now, and all that stuff. And what also sucks about this class is I have it before lunch. So it's kind of sucky, but it's also a reward because I at least get something to do after. So that's kind of nice to where I just have to I get to come out of the class. One thing I hated about it though, the teacher the teacher's kind of teaches a little slow, and she's a little slower than others. And I was thinking maybe that this would actually help in learning better, but it really doesn't. And that, like, she also does notebook checks, and she doesn't even check for anything. Like, she just checks to see if you write your notes neatly. And so I'm like, that doesn't seem professional. You should be checking to see if we have certain specific notes, not to see if it's neat or not. Because there would be some examples that she does that, like, it's like the last, like, 5 minutes of class. I don't do them. I do them sometimes, but I don't do any of them. And she doesn't even ask for them. So it's like, and then she just kind of, I feel like she just kind of expects you to understand it. And, like, she doesn't even do, like the day before the test, she doesn't even review, doesn't even do a review day in order to, like, make sure we understand it. She just expects you to understand it, and that's not really good stuff. I mean, most teachers do review games, but not a lot. So, it's kind of what you expect from math, but honestly, it's like, I don't really know what to think about math at this point anymore. And then fourth period, I have study hall. I would say that this class is a bit better than most of my study halls in the previous years. I just think the teacher could be a little bit better at being a study hall teacher. Because all he does is just kind of sits there, does whatever. The first day was like, all right, well, I'll be cool with you on the first day with your phones. But after that, no. He doesn't care. And he also lets a bunch of, like, kids from other classes, I guess, come in and hang out with him or stuff. And he's kind of just chill like that, I guess. But, and I mean, like, if you need help on math, which is a math teacher that's lucky, you can go to him and he'll help you. But it's kind of weird. Also, he picks the worst subs. His class gets the worst subs ever, and I hate it. So I think the class is okay. I do have one friend in there that I talk to, though. That story is a whole nother thing because he somehow has a girlfriend in there now, I guess. And so yeah, overall, 8A, the first day was fine. I thought it was good, but there was something a little missing. And then to talk about the phone and, I guess, metal detectors. Metal detectors went rocky the first day, and the phone rule thing was kind of fine because some of these classes, especially in drawing and history, I'm allowed to use my phone. So I wasn't really, petrified on that. I wasn't really mad about it, so I was okay with it. So the first day, solid first day. And what's actually crazy, usually they do, what they usually do in every month is they the first day would be all 8 periods. But I think because of all the new rules that they had, they like, you know what? We don't want to overwhelm you. We know that some of these changes are a little wonky, so let's just kind of stress it out a little bit. Let's just have it as an A day, and we'll go on to B day tomorrow, which I think is a little weird, but it's a little bit less. It puts a little bit less stress on people, so that way people can make it to class on time, and that way there can be enough time to like get to know everybody and stuff like that. We get to B day, and I'm actually not gonna lie. I think the second day of school was a lot better, and I think B days were my favorite days of the week. So let's talk about it. So the first day second bus ride into school, perfectly fine. How did the metal detectors go? Oh, they went so much more smoothly. I believe I got into the building by like 7:15, and I think I also got breakfast too. So solid. I got to see some friends. I got to say hi to them. Perfect amount of time to go say hi to friends and stuff like that. So it was good. Then we get to my 5th period, which is English 3. And one of the things I was kind of nervous about let me get a drink of water real quick. One of the things I heard about my English teacher, once again, this is another class that my sister had in 11th grade, though I think she had him for English 2. And as soon as I was a little nervous going into this class because, once again, I heard great things from this teacher from my sister, but I was nervous because the night before I checked his Canvas page to see what assignments I'll be doing, and he had like a bunch of assignments planned for the entire month, and I'm like, what is this guy up to? What is he doing? And I'm like, you said this guy was chill, you said this guy was funny, you said we barely do any work in this class. What are you doing? And so I was just a little nervous, but as soon as I walked into his class, I was like, what's up? And he was like, what's up? And to preference this, he's basically, and I'm not saying this to make fun of him, he calls himself this all the time. He's basically an old fat dude, basically. And I'm not going to say his name, but as soon as class started, he started talking, and I honestly knew he was my favorite teacher of this school year, but also my favorite teacher of the entire school. Now, he's not my favorite teacher because he lets us go on our phones, which is good, even though it's not the best. It's not really the best thing to do in school because it's like, going on your phone is not the biggest joy anymore. It's kind of like just something to do because once you finish your work. And plus, it's also not as fun in there because where his class is in the building, the Wi-Fi sucks. So it's not even about that. The thing that I love about his class is that the way that he is able to teach, and that he makes his class basically a game in a way that where everyone is able to pass, to where he is a teacher that encourages us to cheat. He is also a teacher that we can literally open the door multiple times and we can get points off of it. And I'm just sitting here going like, this is, and as he was taking attendance and stuff, he was kind of like, come over here, you stud, or whatever, like, and he was like, man's gift to woman. I'm like, oh my god, this man is hilarious. And even as he was talking about the cell phone policy, he was like, they've been letting you go for years with your phones, and now they want to take away your phones. Like, what the fuck? And he literally, like, almost cursed. I'm like, this man gets it. This man is us. I'm like, wow. Big props to him. Like, this man, as soon as he started saying all that, I'm like, this man is the best teacher. This man is the best teacher. And, even just according to that, like, as the year went throughout, and especially with the stuff that I've been going through in September, October, November, and December, I've been able to talk to him about a lot of stuff, and he's been, in a way, kind of helpful. And that's the other thing. He's a good friend. He's not just a good teacher, but he's also kind of a good friend, in a way, if that makes sense. So, big props to him. He's an amazing teacher, and not only is he the only good person there, but I also think English just has a nice... I think the friends in there for me are just good. I think that class, while being a very entertaining class, and the teacher's just a good class, and also, like... And, hold on. The friends in there, the friend groups, they're good. Everybody just kind of does their own thing, and then I have my own group of friends, and we kind of just all do our own thing. I've kind of gotten closer with a few people in there. I also reconnected with some people to where two people I stopped talking to in, like, middle school or freshman year because I didn't like the people they associated themselves with. But in this class, it kind of, because we're in, like, a more positive group but funny group, we kind of reconnected and we're kind of friends again. Though I'm not going to be a part of whatever they want to do that I don't agree with, but fair enough. But we are still good friends, and we connect. All of it is just positive notes. But the other thing that really also works about his class is the way that he teaches. Like, you can take the simpleness of reading a book to your class, a story that all English teachers have to read to your class. He takes that and he does it in a different way to where he kind of summarizes it in a way that is interesting. And there's even times to where, like, he's not really caring if, people aren't fully paying attention. He just does it for whoever wants to, because technically all the work is cheatable. We have a little quiz to do in these textbooks, and all the work is these little quizzes are group work. And so we allow to cheat on it, so it's nice. Now I don't know if I should be talking about the certain stuff we do in this class, because technically we had a watch one time in the class, and he was literally signing off certain points of when we were answering questions, and he was like, what until we said the right answer. And so it's like, no matter how wrong you get the answer, like, you're still getting points. Like, that's awesome. So even one of the professionals of the school, one of the principals, has seen this happen. So I'm guessing it's fine. So yeah. And he loves our class. So me personally, top tier class. And then 6th period, which is PE. I'm not entirely... At first, I wasn't a big fan of this class just because it's kind of boring. You're not really exercising. You're not really doing a whole lot. The only good thing about it was I had one of my friends that I met. So there was a friend I made in July that I had in tech theater class in my math class last year, that about a year ago, she kind of came up to me asking, hey, are you Nick? And she was like, what happened to your Instagram? Because I remember you followed me. And at first, I never really talked to her because I'm like, I assumed that she was kind of rude in the way she looked. But she's actually kind of a nice person. And especially, like, it actually took a few times to talk to her whenever we would hang out. But honestly, I think that some stuff started back in October to where in PE, we would have these conversations, and they would just be so interesting. And I think PE for me is like it started to get good because I started to actually gain some friends and talk to people a little bit more. and just all the above. I had one friend where I played basketball with him, or I just go on my phone and listen to music. Um, and so it was kind of nice because of that. But then with that one friend that I knew going into before I went to the class, the conversations and all that stuff got better through time. To where in October, I'm like, I'm just enjoying the conversations, and then November, I feel like November was like the peak month for conversations, and especially in December too, to where I'm like, I remember this one day, like two times this one week where we were talking, where we went to outside in PE the whole week, and we were just having W conversation after W conversation after W conversation. So one day I remember we were talking about one conversation about food, and then talking about like childhood shows or childhood movies. I'm like, that's interesting, something we can all relate to, and it's not even stuff that I wanted to talk about, like Marvel. Like I would always love to talk about Marvel with anybody, but it's something that we can all relate to, and I love that. And even certain stuff that I never thought I would probably talk with anybody about, I could talk to her about and her other friends. So it's like, it was good. It's really good. And I even gained another friend in there that I thought, he is a brother of one of my sisters, of one of his of one of he's a brother of one of my friends, uh that I knew in my elementary school. So that was also kind of nice too. Um, but overall, I enjoyed the class. Could be a lot more fun if we actually got to do stuff like as a class, but other than that, kind of boring. Besides getting to talk to friends, which is amazing. And then seventh period, which is Spanish. This was a class I was very nervous for, considering that I didn't learn shit in Spanish, and I didn't really know how to. But the very first day that I went to that class, all my fears for Spanish 2 went away. And especially from what I've been hearing about the teacher, and that she talks too much, she's kind of strict, she doesn't allow phones. How is this class going to be any good? And honestly, yes, she does talk a little too much. But I will actually say, and everybody has their own opinion, but honestly, I like the class, in that she actually kind of puts a positive spin on everything, and that, yeah, she does kind of come for certain people, but at the same time, she's a class that is like in a positive way, to where she just wants everybody to learn. She wants everybody to learn the material. She's all about talking to people, and the reason why she bans phones in the class is because she just wants everybody to talk. She wants people to interact and make friends, and in a way, that is the way of how relationships can be made. And as for me, I don't really have a lot of friends in there. I have at least like maybe 2 or 3. There's a few people around me that I talk to, but not by a whole margin, not by a large margin. But overall, I'm fine with the people that I talk to. I just kind of do, I just do my work in there. But if I have a friend I can practice with, it's good. So overall, it's a nice class, and hopefully it actually gets better to where I can actually make a really close and good friend by the end of the year. By the end of the year ends. So we'll just have to wait and see. And then finally, the final class is Marine Science Honors. This was a class that I was kind of excited for, because I like marine stuff. And I was also kind of excited for the people that were going to be in this class. And I was excited to learn about animals. The class and the teacher's also pretty nice. I just think there's a lot of work, which I guess that's just how honors is and how honors classes are. But she teaches a little too fast, and so I guess there's a certain way that she teaches that is interesting, so I'm willing to forgive her for it. But I think I'm excited for this next quarter, to where we're basically going to be learning about the animals of the ocean, because pretty much the first semester has been all about ocean and the plants and stuff, and the deep down and stuff. now we get to learn about animals. So I think it'll be a lot more interesting, and probably a lot more fun. The other thing I liked about this class was, I think, when it came to friends. Oh, hold up, I gotta put my phone on the charger real quick. So when it came to, I think when it comes to friends in here, I think it's just a good amount of friends that I have in the class. So much so that I have this one friend who is in my 5th period class, and then I have this other friend who is a girl. And don't get crazy now, because she has a boyfriend, so don't get crazy now. But practically, what's actually kind of interesting about her is that she likes to sit with me almost every single day of the class, every time we're there. But then also, when we're walking, since it's my last day of the period of the day, she likes to walk with me to the bus loop. And I'm like, of all people, you choose me. And I'm hating on the world. I don't have any friends. Nobody likes me. But then you got her, and she likes me. Granted, there's times where she's in a bad mood. But I'm willing to deal with it. And there's times where she messes with me. And so, it's just kind of, it brings a little bit more light. And it's a fun way to, like, it's a fun payoff to how my science classes have been throughout the years. So I honestly just kind of like it. And we talk here and there, and I think for me, our friendship me and her friendship has gotten a lot better, to where I even got her phone number, and we're playing iMessage games. So awesome. So overall, I think the very, obviously, all this stuff with this girl and everything, it stretched out, like, throughout the months of school. And it got really good. But when it came to the first day of a B-Day, it was excellent. And then on Wednesday, I had my very first great B-Day, my very first great A-Day, to where I had some work to do from, like, math or something that I didn't finish in class. And I used my time wisely, and I finished all my work in study hall. I was in a little bit of a rush to pack up so I can go, but I finished my work on time, and I did it. And I was so proud of myself, to where I was so stressed out about this whole week. And to where I think also that night, I had a good dinner to where my family got Pizza Hut. And they got this family pack, and I was like, oh, all this food looks good. The pizza, the pasta, oh my god, it looks so good. So yeah. And then the last 2 days of the week were just fantastic. And it was a great way to close out this first week of school. And I thought it was just an overall great week. And like I said, I told you how the first day went, and I told you how the classes went. So overall, school's good. School is good. And so you think, right now, school is great. It's one of the best years, right? Well, that's where it kind of falls into some interesting categories, because the first week hasn't even finished yet, and as soon as school ends on that Friday, August 16th, I came home, and something happened with one of my friends. So I saw something on one of my friends' notes, one of my biology friends. Sorry, I'm a little hungry right now. One of my friends posted something on her notes, saying something about a guy she likes. And I was thinking, ooh, someone has a crush, and yada, yada. And from the way she was kind of talking, she was like, I hate how I have to hang out with a boy, and everybody thinks that you like him. And honestly, I mean, when she said that, I was like, I don't really know who you're talking about. So I'm like, you could tell me. And then she was like, you really want to know? Because I haven't told our other female friend yet. And she was like, it's your friend. I'm not gonna say what my friend's name is, but it's my friend. And at first I was, if you don't know, I actually kind of liked this girl in our group. And I mean, kinda, because technically me and my friend, we're boys, and when we met, one of the things we found out was we both extremely like girls, and we happened to meet two very attractive girls. I mean, obviously, we became friends with them, and they like us, and now we're all friends. But we didn't really have like a certain we like each other moment. We just kind of found them attractive. We admired it, but we never said it. We never speak it. And apparently my friend liked her too. And so at first I was kind of like, wait, I'm not really too mad about it because I may have a second chance. And then that's when I realized, wait, that means I just got rejected. So that kind of sucks. And then I basically was trying to keep the secret from her for a long time, for a while. And what was actually kind of crazy is me and my friend, we were actually going to ask these girls out to the new Homecoming that was coming out for this year. And I know this is last year's stuff, but we got to talk about it. And it was very stressful point of view weeks. Oh, something else I did in this school year, I joined a club. I joined Marine Club. And it was very cool. And so basically, I think that is all for August. I think this is the part where we could start talking about September. So we get to September, and basically all the stuff with that drama and the relationships and the weirdness of my friend not knowing that she likes him, or he likes her back too. And we get to September 6th, or that weekend, and that's when I believe the week when the Homecoming tickets came out. And we always had plans to ask them out in person, because I don't think it's good through text, just because I think it's pointless. In order to ask things like this out, you have to like do it in person. And of course, my friend and his new girl, they got it. It mattered of how I was going to get it, and they said yes, but as friends, and that we're basically all going as friends. And from that week, I was just kind of sad, because, one, I'm going to another Homecoming single, but also, I just don't really know how I'm going to be able to go here and see my friend and his girl do their thing and all that stuff. That just doesn't really sit well with me. Now, I will say this: when I first heard about it, that she likes my friend, I didn't really think too much of it, because they didn't really do anything. Well, I spoke too soon, because that very first Friday, well, actually, their anniversary is September 11th. It's 9/11. So he basically texted me saying, I asked her, and basically they started dating on 9/11. And then I spoke too soon, because on September 13th, as I was going through the metal detectors and I saw him walk in the building, I tried looking for him, and I was like, wait, hey, I went outside and I asked one of my friends, hey, where is he? And I was like, oh, he went to go be with his new girl, and he's like sitting over there. And I'm like, wait, so this thing's happening? This thing's actually happening? And so all of my friends, of course, all of our friends, they went to go see him, and I couldn't stand to watch it. Not only because he got her, but because I also kind of liked her, but because I also wanted all of that. And the fact that like he has a great day now, and it's like, and like the rest of the day, I was just emotionally drained, to where it's like I couldn't process of what was going on. And so much so in that the very next day they go on their very first date. And I'm just sitting here going like, what the fuck happened? They're going on a date already? You just started dating. Like, I understand no time to waste, but like, what the fuck? And I even heard like he got a kiss on the cheek. I'm like, wow, really? And that's how I knew I am going to hate Homecoming so much because I have to see this. And I know what you're thinking. Like everybody says, you can just go to Homecoming like with friends and stuff, but there's a difference to where there are certain things that certain people want to do that you can't do with friends. You can't dance with your homie. Sure, it could be a jokey thing, but that just, for me, it makes it personal to where it's like it's really bad. To where it's like I want it badly, and like I've always wanted to dance with someone at a dance. Obviously, I can understand 8th grade and freshman year homecoming, but like all these other years, it's like I feel like I have a chance, and I guess I don't. And so basically up to that point, I think I had to just separate myself from them for like 3 days, and I just couldn't be with them. And so basically I decided, you know what? It was their first day kind of hanging out together. And so I'm like, why not just go ahead and talk to them? And it was nice. It wasn't as bad, and I tried learning to accept it. And I will say there was definitely been some times throughout the months to where it's been a little bit hard to where, especially November, they like sent me a picture of them kissing. Like there was this whole thing where they sent me a picture of them kissing. I'm like, why would you do that? Why? Why? And then in like December, like I saw this whole, in like December, I saw this whole thing that happened. I don't know. I guess something just triggered it. Granted, and to not to comment on winter break, but I think since we're not there, I know we're not there yet, but to comment on winter break, I think both Thanksgiving and winter break has been a really nice break from all that stuff, from all the stress, and I'm excited to start the new year on just a fresh note, on a solid note, and to just go on a positive note. And you know, my friend, he's leaving soon, either this month or February, most likely February. So, I am going to miss him, but part of me is also going to be a little relieved that he is leaving. But, and I know that's really bad to say, but it's the first time where one of my friends, people I'm really close with that I hang out with almost all the time and I text all the time, they're actually dating. And I've never really had that sort of relationship before, that sort of friendship with people before. And, you know, I was just really, I was really nervous for homecoming and all that stuff. And then when it got to the day of the homecoming, oh, also fun fact, they canceled school the day before homecoming because I guess there was a flood thing. Kind of fun, kind of nice. But then the day of the homecoming, there was a couple of people that couldn't go either because their parents wouldn't let them, or their GPA was low. Which, by the way, not being able to go to a stupid dance because your GPA is low, that's stupid. That's very stupid. But, because it really should be up to the parents to decide that, not the school. So, yeah, and then, how did the homecoming dance go? I thought it was okay. It was definitely better than freshman year's homecoming. The cool thing about this was, two of my friends from another school came. I invited them, and we all had fun together. It was nice. They got to see some people that they haven't seen in a while, so it was kind of nice. How did it go with my friends? Well, it kind of went a little hard because, you know, they played slow dancing music and they went to go dance, and obviously I can't be a part of that. Who am I to do that? And so I had to leave because I couldn't see that. And honestly, like, I'm glad I don't have to deal with that next year, but it's almost like, when am I ever going to get that? Like, And that's why I'm not a big fan of Homecoming and, you know, and all these, and Valentine's Day and all that stuff, because it's like, they make you think it's okay to be single when really it's not. Obviously, I'm okay with being single right now, even though I am getting a little emotional talking about all this again. It's just, and I understand, a relationship takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of stuff, but it would be nice to at least get that once in a while. And a lot of people have been there for me. A lot of people have related to me. So it's been kind of hard to deal with it. I think what made me feel a little bit better was that's the next day I went to go to the movies with one of my friends to go see The Wild Robot, and that was an amazing movie, and I loved it. So I thought that was just a great experience. And then I think that kind of closes out September overall. Those are really my thoughts on the Homecoming as a whole, and I'm honestly just kind of nervous for senior year, because I have one more Homecoming left, one more prom, and I have prom, and then what next? I go to weddings. I have to go. Do I have to go to a club to do this and then get a dance? Like when will that ever be? And so it's like, yeah, so it's really hard. And I mean, I know I shouldn't. It's not a must. It's just a want. You just want it, and I really should just take a break from all of that. But it's like, shouldn't I deserve that too? And sure, I may have a female friend I could probably dance with, but why would I do that? That's the easy way out. You need to earn it in order to get it. And so, it's not right. But overall, that is September. Now let's move on to October. So October I thought was kind of a good month. It was a good month. Think one of the things I kind of enjoyed about from this month was I really enjoying Halloween stuff. I kind of wish I did a little bit more, but honestly, I don't know. I didn't really do a whole lot. Sorry, I'm trying to think about what happened. Also, remember how I said I had a friend that that encouraged the 4th of July idea? So yeah, there was this whole thing to where basically it had to do with like her boyfriend, that I made him feel uncomfortable just by viewing his account. And her boyfriend lives in like Georgia, though they broke up the same weekend. But like I also heard she was talking shit about me and all this stuff, and she even like tries to make it seem like I'm the bad guy because I crash out. There was a lot of drama that happened with that, and then like her other best friend is like speaking for her, and I'm like, to be honest, I'm not mad about it as much because the relationship seemed already fucked up anyway. So it is what it is. Then when it came to Halloween and all that good stuff, I would actually say it was good. I thought, because I think my Halloween plans were kind of complicated, I think when it came to my costume, I couldn't really get it in time. I wanted to be Wolverine or Deadpool. I chose Wolverine. They didn't have a costume, and so I was like, oh, maybe I could go with the claws. They didn't have the claws, and I mean, technically they had all this stuff, but it wasn't going to come until after Halloween, so it wouldn't work. So I decided, and I'm not going to go, and I had a white tank top I could go in, but nobody's going to recognize that. Maybe some people will, but all people will just see me as a wife beater. An old dad and a wife beater. That's what they'll see. And I'm not, that's not what the costume is. It's Wolverine. And so I thought, why not just chill with the fam at home, eat snacks, watch movies, and that's it. And I think what made it a little bit better too is that not everybody was, praising in what they were doing, because I think I think this year Halloween was just kind of boring. Halloween was kind of boring, to be honest. And like, some people came in to school in some good costumes, but they like it just wasn't they weren't hyping it up, to be honest. So I wasn't a big fan of it. But I had fun on Halloween. It was nice. It was definitely a nice way to post some stuff, but just overall, nothing too crazy, to be honest. All right, now I think this is where we could talk about November. Okay, so with November, I think this was definitely one of the more great months for me. I think November and December are my favorite months because a lot of great things just happen. So with November, the very first day was very weird because so I forgot to mention a little something at homecoming. After I went to go sit down, after my friends went to go dance or whatever, a girl came up to me asking, was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I don't have anyone to dance with." And she was so kind to me and so nice. And she introduced me to one of my friends. We took a picture together and all that stuff. And I found her Instagram like a few days later, basically thanking her for everything. And I tried texting her, left me on delivered for like almost a lot of days. And so I deleted the messages. And then I texted her on Halloween, texted her one of her friends, and then I saw November 1st after that day that one of her friends like unfollowed me. And then and then I saw her, and I went on Friday to a pep rally that they missed because of, I guess, the floods or whatever. And both of those people were there, and I just felt so weird because, like, I never talked to them in school. And so it just felt so weird seeing them. And so I felt very uncomfortable just watching that pep rally. But I will say this, and they were only there in the opening sequence and welcoming us in the door, but that was it. But I will say the experience of going to the pep rally was a little bit better this year because that girl that was in my science class that I talked about in the August part, she was actually there. She was actually there with me. Her friends were like sitting right above me. She moved to go sit with them, and then she saw me. She said hi, and then one of my friends was sitting next to me. She was like, "Hey, can we move so I could sit next to him?" That was really nice. Just solid, nice work. Solid, nice work. Um, and then basically that weekend, it was both a good and a bad thing. To where that's the where my friends sent the kissing thing again, and then I got mad over it, and then that both of those girls, they blocked me. The girls from that I met at the homecoming, they both blocked me, and I think that was very like weird. Like, you say all these kind things to me, and then you block me for no reason, and you don't even give me a reason. You don't even talk to me. Yet you view my stories. You do all that. You don't even talk to me. What was the deal? And the fact that a society that like people just choose to block and they don't decide to communicate. You followed me for a reason. You did that for a reason. What did you think? Like, can't you be more trusting? But it is what it is. But also there was a good, and the good on this weekend was I got closer with a really good friend of mine that I met at one of my friend's birthday parties last year, and I realized that me and her just really, I'm not going to go into detail as to what we were talking about, but we have communicated and talked a lot to where I just kind of felt like texting her every day, and it felt really nice, to where we would talk about like Sabrina Carpenter, or to where she would actually kind of text me first sometimes, and she would comment on my stories, and she would just be so awesome. And I guess I still talk to her to this very day, and I just really appreciate it. And then, basically, I was actually kind of excited for that for the next week, the next full week of November, because that next week I was going to my cousin's wedding. Now, this wedding, it was my second wedding that I went to last year, that I went to, because last year I went to my aunt's daughter's wedding. This time it was my uncle's son's wedding. And what was so interesting about it is that both of these weddings were both unique and different. It was kind of interesting to not be included in a wedding this time, considering last year I was involved in one. And so I kind of liked it. I liked the atmosphere. The two people got married under like an oak tree, and it was absolutely beautiful. As the people were coming down, they played that Thousand Years song from Twilight, and pretty much that whole weekend I was just listening to that song, and it was pretty awesome. And then, everybody, give their toes. Some of them had their first dances, yada, yada, yada. And it was just overall fun. It was fun to hang out with family again. And honestly, I think that this wedding, there was a certain moment in this wedding to where I fully realized family time is now precious. To where one of my cousins, my uncle's daughter, not my mom's brother's uncle's daughter, my mom's brother's daughter, she came up to me and she was like, I'm just so happy to see how far you've come. What grade are you in? And I'm in 11th grade. And she was like, I know 11th grade can be really hard, especially for me, because, you got to start thinking about college. But, if you have any questions, just text me on Instagram and all that stuff. And I'm like, I know you probably don't think of me as your second sister. I know we don't talk as much, but you can always do that. And it almost made me kind of tear up a little bit, because I'm like, I never really thought of it like that she is kind of like my second sister. And that next week I just had a lot, I just was thinking a lot. And it was just something really nice. And I really appreciated all of that stuff. And we actually had to leave a little bit early. And overall, nice wedding. Really enjoyed it. But yeah, I overall had a great time. And then we get back to school again, which of course, funny thing is I had like a 4-day weekend, or I had like a 5-day weekend really, because I didn't go to school, I believe, Thursday and Friday. I missed Thursday and Friday. So yeah, that happened. Can't really think. We had the Paul Walker, the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight. That fight was ass. That fight was so ass. I mean, the fight with the girls at the beginning was much bloodier. There was no blood. This was staged. Like, come on, man. And then the very last week before Thanksgiving break, I honestly would say was actually pretty good. I was a little pissed off about something in the way things ended off that week, but honestly, I think the last day before Thanksgiving break was incredible. First off, it was the first day that it was getting cold, and the weather and the sky was absolutely beautiful. But also, just every class was amazing. And I just had a great day that day. And then the very first day of the break, what do? I go do a beach cleanup with my Marine Club. Granted, it wasn't the greatest experience because I had to walk in sand. And I don't know if it was because, like, the shoes I was wearing. I was wearing Jordans, and it was not a good experience of walking in. I picked up some trash, and I'm like, I was kind of thinking, I was a little bit stressed out about it because I'm like, how is this going to work? Like, is there a certain time we have to come back to the little stage place? And overall, it's nice. If you get trash, you get it. If you don't, you don't. And also during the Marine Club, we also do times where we have certain committees, and I'm in the recycling committee, so I basically go around the school and recycle things, and it's fun. And if you get trash, you get trash. If you don't, you don't. So it is what it is. And then we basically get the rest of Thanksgiving break, which in my opinion, part of the joy of Thanksgiving break, obviously it's only 1 week. It's kind of like spring break if spring break had a holiday, which sometimes it does, because sometimes it has Easter, sometimes it has a birthday, but Thanksgiving break has Thanksgiving. So I think the joy of it, hang on, let me get a drink. I think the joy of this is you get to spend 5 days doing whatever you want. Technically, I had 4 days because I had to do the beach cleanup. But then you get the next 4 days, starting with Thanksgiving, and then the next 3 days doing whatever you want. To where you get Thanksgiving, you get to hang out with family all day, and then the big payoff throughout the entire day is to eat Thanksgiving dinner. And man, oh man, Thanksgiving was amazing. The food was great. I mean, it's always great. It's Thanksgiving. But it was just, they made it so good. I loved having family around, and also, this was also one of the first Thanksgivings to where I kind of gave a little bit of a speech and just commenting on certain things, and it was just really nice and really well done. What happened after that? Oh, so, then I guess we kind of closed out that weekend, basically, so that Friday, me and my family were just watching Christmas movies, watching Home Alone 2, just chilling, having fun. And then November 30th, the final day of November, me and my sister went to go see Wicked, which was something I was not which was something that was not on my to-do list for the month, but I had a great time watching Wicked with my sister. That was awesome. And I think that concludes November. So I think we can start talking about the final month until we get to our New Year's resolutions, and then yeah. Okay, so when it comes to December, of course, I think December is easily the best month of the year. Not just because it's Christmas, but there's also just a lot of exciting things that I'm doing. And especially for this year, I was doing a whole lot of things to do. First off, I was I do my things. I started watching the Marvel Netflix shows, to where basically December 2nd I watched Daredevil. I started watching Daredevil with my mom. I finished it by myself though. She only wants to watch like Daredevil and Punisher, the main important shows that we have to watch for Daredevil Born Again. The other thing that I did was I'm also doing a Christmas movie marathon, to where I'm watching Christmas movies all week, all 25 days of Christmas. And then what's something else I'm going to do? And then I also, every weekend, I am doing something Christmas related with my family to keep the Christmas spirit up and going and all of that great stuff. And then the other thing that I do is it's also the month where I get to give out candy canes before midterms, which for me is also very fun. And I love doing that. So, and I got some pretty good picks, and it's just a fun day, you know. So, all the stuff, I didn't do something Christmas related every weekend, but we made Christmas cookies and we decorated them, and for me that was a core memory for that month, and it was just awesome. Watching some new Christmas movies, I thought it was just amazing. And so overall, December was just a solid month, and then what else happened? When it came to midterms, honestly, I care so much less about it. You know, it's, also, I forgot to mention, I went to go see Joker 2, in October with my mom, my sister, and my sister's best friend. What else? I also saw Mufasa the second to last day before winter break. And then and basically what's been going on in winter break for me. So I've been doing kind of about three things. First off, I made a gingerbread house with my sister, though it's long gone now. So that's it. And then for Christmas Eve, me and my family, we went to my aunt's house to have a Christmas pajama party, but also just to talk and have fun and you know, do things. And honestly, this was the true testament of time to where I'm like, I feel like with my mom's side of the family, I'm able to connect more with a lot of these people. And we had this time to where pretty much all the party guests left, and it was just me, my family, and my aunt and uncle. And, you know, me and my sister, we got to snuggle on the couch, be comfy, and it was really nice. And I feel like in this time around, I feel more comfortable talking to my family a lot more, and I feel like I'm connecting with them more, and I really enjoyed it. And, you know, it felt nice. It felt really good. And then we get Christmas Day, another solid success, got really good gifts. I'm really thankful for everything. Had a really good Christmas dinner. My mom had like this meat that she made was really nice and good. And then pretty much after that, looking back on Christmas, I'm like, this was just a great Christmas, and I'm gonna miss it. But then I realized, you know, New Year's is coming, but we'll talk about that in just a minute. What did I do those last 6 days of the year? I kind of just watched movies and just did some catch up. And I still kind of am, because I want to watch some movies that I missed. And it was a little bit stressful, but I made it through, and it kind of set me up for what is to come for this year. And then basically we get to New Year's, and I'm gonna be honest, I feel like New Year's for me, as a holiday in and of itself, it's not the most enjoyable holiday, because all you're really doing is you're just partying, you're getting excited for something fun, and then you just go home and you just do whatever you want the next day. You dance, you eat food, and then you watch the ball drop at 12, and then that's it. And you wish everyone Happy New Year. That's the thing. But at the same time, it is kind of exciting because you get to rank all the movies. At least for me, it's exciting to rank all movies. It's excited to talk about all the new movies and top shows that are coming out. But it's like, there's not really anything else exciting. It is kind of exciting to, like, on the first day of the new year, Double O Studios. I'll put a note onto that. I might forget as soon as I finish this live, but I'll make a note of that to see it. Hopefully, I hope your short films are good. But yeah, so I'm not a big fan of New Year's. I just think it's a weird holiday. But it is kind of exciting that if you have New Year's goals and you want to start on the first day, just go ahead and do it, you know? And I guess that leads into, you know, the first 2 days of January. How am I doing? And doing pretty good. I'm feeling a little lackluster because I feel like I'm going to bed a little late because I keep staying up late to do some things. But I think maybe today will actually be a much better one. And I think maybe I'll get the hang of it once I start getting back to school, and you know, I'll be able to prioritize certain aspects of things that I'm doing. So yeah, so I guess that's just me. And that concludes the last 6 months of 2024. I'm gonna have so I think to sum up my thoughts on 2024, it's an overall 8. It's had some good moments. It struggled. I think, I think the big moving point was when I lost my really good friend, that she didn't feel close to me. That was frustrating. That was sad. But it kind of opened me back up, and then another big shootout of pain and suffering made me realize a lot of the good in life that I'm like, makes me feel like I'm in the moment a little bit. So I kind of like it. And then, to enjoy Christmas and Thanksgiving was great, and I'm excited to just continue doing that in the new year. And so, yeah. And I think now we can start talking about some New Year's resolutions that I have. Okay, so we're gonna be talking about my New Year's resolutions now. So if you don't remember, back during Christmas, my mom got me this journal here. It's Spider-Man themed with a Winnie the Pooh quote. I don't get it, but I made some goals. I'm not going to show you them because this is a journal and it's private. But I made some goals. And I made about of 10 goals. 5 of them are important for me, for my body, but also, and then the next 5 are basically for the YouTube or just fun, entertaining stuff. So when it comes to the first 5, it is stop procrastinating, get your shit done and all that stuff, exercise more, which I kind of have been doing, and I literally just went on, before I did this live, I literally just went on a walk. I know it's kind of late to do a walk, but I'm trying to either do it every day, early in the day, or do it every other day. So that's kind of my goal here. I don't really have a plan to I don't know if I really have a plan to get fit. I'm trying to just start out slow in the beginning, and maybe by next month I'll start maybe start running or something like that. Number 3, eat better. I'm still trying. I've been eating. Once my mom goes to the grocery store, she's gonna I'm gonna start eating healthier. Number 4, be more connected and helpful with family. Just be there in the moment with my family and hang out with them more, which is something I feel like I've been doing in the last 6 months. So that is a good thing. Number 5, get better at school and study and get a job. Well, get a job, I'll be doing that in summer. And I actually have to do that because I can't be graduating high school and not have a job. That is going to be terrible. But get better at school, I guess. Nick, I can help you with making healthy food. I learned to do it without feeling like I'm forcing myself to. Okay. Anyone that's in the live, recommend some healthy food choices that are good. I actually may know one that I remember seeing one of YouTubers I watch. He posted a video of something of how he was able to eat healthier and lose weight. And that's also something I'm trying to do too. I'm trying to lose weight a little bit too. Oh. Then teach me then. Show me how then. I don't know. But yeah, so then 6, so then now we're on to the funner goals. Watch movies. Watch more movies this year. My goal is to make it to 700. I don't know because in the last year I've watched over 653 movies. So and this past year, it's only the second day, I've seen over 4. So not exactly the most important goal, but still a really good one. And then number 7, watch more TV, basically more television shows. I think tonight there's 2 shows premiering. I don't remember the names, but it's the first episode. I'm gonna watch the first episode to see of how it's gonna be, and maybe I'll like it. And also I was trying to think of maybe if I could. Ricardo, that is you. I know you are Ricardo because you're the only one that sends me LeBron videos. What the hell, man? Anyways, um, um, that made me laugh. But yeah, watch more television, and I heard that I was trying to think like, can I really make a top 5 most anticipated TV shows list? I don't think so, just because a lot of the shows are like from Disney, and I don't really know if that's exciting. But then I realized, oh yeah, there's actually a lot of shows that are exciting coming out this year. They just don't have release dates yet. So, I probably will talk about that in my 2025 entertainment preview tomorrow. Number 8 is play video games, read books, etc. This is basically stuff that is kind of fun. You know, I started playing video games last year, never really finished any of them. And I need to try to find a way to do that. So I'm probably gonna have to restart playing Spider-Man 2, continue playing Spider-Man and Miles Morales. So that is my goal. And then read books. I just need to read more. You know, I struggle with reading comprehension in school, so that is something I need to do. And then maybe watch more short films, though that kind of is included in more movie watching. But yeah. And then get better to do YouTube. Basically, getting better equipment, finding an editor, and maybe even doing some collabs with people. I don't know if that's possible, but I would really like to do that. Yes, grow closer to God. Do that. But I just want to find a way to make my videos more edited and do better. Because, you know, some of these videos have copyright claims because of the music I put in the background. But it's like, I don't know. I have a lot of videos and I don't really know if I have time to edit them. Maybe I could go back and edit them one day. I don't know. But I make a lot of videos. So there's that. And maybe I just need to, like, find a way to, like, do certain things. But yeah, that's just me. And then number 10, be tidy and neat. You know, organize my room, make my bed, you know, clean, organize everything. Just do the stuff that is good. And with that said, that closes out this stream. I guess we can, I'm going to put a check mark because I have a list of goals. I have over a list of 12 goals that I have today. I only completed 2 of them. And the live happens to be one of them. So we will, since we are now closing out this live at 1 hour, 43 and 32 seconds, we will be completing it. So I have now completed 3 goals today. And I know it's basically 8 o'clock, but I will hopefully make it to bed on time and to sleep good tonight. But that is all for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate all the things that you guys have done in the channel, supporting it. Even certain recent videos that, like, I can't believe have gotten certain good reviews. Thank you. Happy New Year, and let's keep talking movies and life in the year of 2025. See ya.